You are a spiritual being in physical form, a dichotomy of light and dark, where energy equals mass on a journey designed to fulfill our personal legend and purpose, to use humanity throughout, to amplify and transcend, slay the ego, raise the humanity. That's a signpost up ahead. Your next stop, the High Vibe Zone.
Hey y'all, hey. I have missed that intro. It's been a while, I feel, since I've done the High Vibe Zone. Hey LinkedIn, if you're out there, I got my 2.5-year-old trying to come in here. He's having a rough day, y'all. So just send him some light love right now. He's been kind of off and on. And shout out to all those that are having a rough day, sending you light and love right now. Hoping that you're receiving this message. This is going to be a short and sweet High Vibe Zone. I got something to tell you. I got this message in this morning. I was coming from my run and I just could not wait to just capture it. So I don't know who this is for, but I just want to share this out in the High Vibe Zone. So if you're watching on LinkedIn, even though this is going to be short and sweet, or YouTube, go ahead and just say hello in the comments. Drop your name, where you're joining from geographically. What are you grateful for? Gratitude changes the attitude. So what are you grateful for in this moment? And this moment is all that we have. But I'm going to jump into it real quick. I was able to, so just to kind of paint the scene, I typically get up around 4-ish, and then I do a run between like 5 and 5:30. I'm usually out the door around that time. And this morning, I just, again, like I said, my little one was having a rough day. So this morning it was just a little bit less vibrant. And so I did not wake up at my usual time. I woke up, went back to sleep, woke up, back to sleep. And then 7 o'clock rolls around and I have an 8 o'clock meeting gathering. And so I decide, make all the excuses. Oh, I can't do it. Wednesday can be my off day. I don't need to run. Just kind of setting the scene here. Well, I was like, nope, I want to run. So I throw on my gear. So I got 20, 30 minutes and then I can get my day started. And so I do it. I go out for my run. It was a really great run. And normally when I first started running about 9 months ago, I could only run a minute and a half at a time. Like I would have to take little breaks and pit stops. And I used this specific trail to help. I had like little markers or things that I would use as my checkpoints. And so since I've been practicing my running, I now can run a longer distance. And so I take another route, which is less checkpoints. It's just I kind of run the route all the way through. But because I had less time this morning, I decided to take the path that I practiced on. So as I'm coming back, or as I'm going through this, the path that I used to run on the most, or when I practiced on, I started to I'm like, okay, I can do this. I run, 30 minutes straight. I can run this one, no problem. And I started to experience some resistance on this path. I mean, running is running, like I was going, but I just felt something there. And I was like, what is going on? Like I can run a more difficult path or the path that I'm currently running. But what's the adjustment here? And as I'm coming back home, I get this realization that there might still be some energy left on the practice path that I was on. Like I was practicing on this and I probably left a lot of excuses and doubts and all of this stuff, and me revisiting it in this current state of kind of moving towards more of what I was aspiring to be kind of going back to my practice path and cleaning up that energy. So follow me here. So the download that I received, that I got, was while we are practicing different parts in our lives, depending on where you are, you're in a practice mode, trying to achieve something. We leave energetic fingerprints in that. So usually doubt is there, or anxiety, or shame, or fear, or guilt, or something is happening along that practice path. That's where practice hill is, I guess I'm going to say it. And when you reach your destination, when you're no longer in the training wheels, when you're no longer practicing, and you make it to where you are going, sometimes there is resistance, or you're not seeing what you want to see, or you're not seeing the things aren't flowing necessarily. And that's because we need to go back to those practice hills, that practice path, and clean up the energy that we left there, because the energy, it's like an energetic fingerprint. When you touch something, you leave your energy there. And now that you have come out of whatever you were practicing, you have to go back to that space, energetically, physically. In my case, I went back to the path of running, the running trail that I was practicing at. And I went through there and I was cleaning up that energy energetically. I was taking that doubt, telling those excuses. They're no longer welcome here. They're no longer there. They're no longer valid. And I rewrote kind of that path with good energy as I was running through it. Another example of this, if this is too out there for you, but another example of this is, let's say you're in a relationship with someone and you listen to this song around the time, a certain song around the time you're in a relationship with that person, and then you break up. You're no longer involved. Something happens. And a song 3, 4, 5 years later comes on and you start to remember that person. That's energy that was left in that area that definitely needs to be cleaned up. Now, if it's positive energy, keep it. If it's not positive, and you can tell within your soul, like in your body and your reaction or your responses, is it positive or negative? You want to go back and clean that energy up. And sometimes that might be going back and forgiving that person, forgiving yourself at that time, just cleaning up any energy that was left there that's hindering you. One other example that I wanted to share around this idea, this thought, is imposter syndrome. Now, imposter syndrome has come up a lot in conversations. And what I'm sensing imposter syndrome is uncleansed energy left in the past that is seeping in or boomeranging back into your present. For example, if you started off as an entry level worker that was doing whatever job, doesn't even matter, but you aspire to be an executive at XYZ company. And you finally get to X, Y, and Z of a certain type of company. And you start to feel like, oh my gosh, I shouldn't be here. And all this doubt and all this stuff starts to overwhelm you. It's possible that you are still carrying energy from when you were an entry-level employee, and all the lessons and practices and things that you had to learn and things that you took on that were not your energy. For example, am I doing a good job, or you're not doing a good job enough, or this or that? And all of that was never cleaned up. So now that even though you are in a different physical space, you still have that energetic energy tied to you. And so that's where we start to get this notion of imposter syndrome. Well, it's kind of true. This energy is not you right now, but it is from some part of you that has not been cleansed or cleaned up. And so because of that, it is causing some issues here in the present. Hey, Lester, blessings to you as well. Good to see you in the high vibe zone. So I don't really have a checklist or what to do. I just got this today and I just want to sit with it, but I felt like this is a message for someone to hear. I have a really good friend that I was having lunch with her one time, and she was dealing with some negative stuff within her department, and she was getting ready to quit. She was getting frustrated. Manager wasn't vibing. And one of the things that I mentioned to her, I said, if you're not getting what you want out of a situation, check your energy. I didn't realize that until now, that checking your energy doesn't mean just now in this space, but check what energy you are leaving in different areas that might not be serving you where you are now, because energy just keeps going. It doesn't end, because it doesn't just like disappear. It rejuvenates into something else. It manifests into something else. And where it might be manifesting is in your present moment that is not allowing that flow to happen. So took a couple notes, and I'm going to just see, again, go back to that practice hill, the place where you were practicing the lesson that you now learn, and go see if there's some energy there that you need to clean up, because that could be the blocker. It could be the barrier between the thing that you're asking for the most. Most of us keep asking and asking. You don't have to. You ask one time, it's heard, right? Ask and receive. There is a gap sometimes that we fill with ourselves between the ask and receiving. And that's the energetic vibration that we either are or aren't running. If you want a promotion in your role, run the vibration of the promotion of your role. If you want a specific type of job, you want a specific type of relationship. A small example of this is I was running one day, and there's this hill by my house. It's a very steep hill. And every time I kind of see it, I'm like, I don't want to do that hill. I don't want to go up there. But at this particular day, I wanted to get what was on the other side of I want to get to what was on the other side of the hill. And as I'm running, my ego, who I've talked about a few times, Otis, I call my ego Otis. Naming your ego is very key. Otis was like, you can't run up that hill. And then all of a sudden, very, very quickly, I was like, well, why can't I? It's just steep steps. Why don't I just match the vibration of that hill? And I ran up it perfectly fine. And so matching the vibration of the thing that you want the most is really key. And then sometimes that comes in visual. So envisioning, that's where vision boards come in. They're very, very powerful. Envisioning what you want, writing things down, speaking out the words that you want. Know that you ask, it is given, it is there. You just have to match where that there is. And usually it's the energy that we're running. It is the energy. It's not usually, it's always the energy that we're running that allows us to achieve the things that we want the most. Last story example. I had a really good friend of mine that was struggling to have children, and they decided to adopt. And she went into adopting and being a mother to these children, and just really just lighting up their world, and they were lighting up hers. And she was told, can't have kids, not going to happen. Nope, 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 nope. And she ended up getting pregnant. And I just remember thinking, you were running so much of that energy. And I'm not saying this is a solution for everything, but everyone's on their own path. Everyone's on their own journey. But it was just so fascinating how it all just started to happen for her, and witnessing this. And so whoever's out there, it might just be no one, but this message is for someone. So I'm not sure who it's for. But again, going back to clean up any residual energy that could boomerang and block you from the things that you're looking forward to the most in life, the things that you've asked for. There's something to that. So I just want to encourage you to think about what I've said. If anything resonates, you can reach out to me, or you can leave a comment for someone in the chat. But again, this is a thought that I have that I'm still percolating on. I am trying to not hold back and perfect or present parts of myself. Usually what I would do is I would get this download and I'd dissect it and make sure it was right and made sense and this and that. I'm telling y'all what I'm feeling real time, because we're real humans and we all process different ways and processing different things. And who's to say my journey and your journey aren't almost similar into where we're going? So I'm going to I just share this raw and real. I'm still formulating things. It's still in my mind, and maybe I'll add to it later, but it is a message. It is a message for you. And my hope is that in light and love that you receive the thing that you want the most. Know that what you want wants you, and that you are greater than you know. Which leads me to something I just want to read to you. I'm gonna end it on this. I have not journaled yet. I usually journal every day, but the day is not over. At least not here, it isn't. And I'd like to read to you, and I'll close this out here in the high vibe zone. And maybe this is the message for you. Who knows? I have no idea. I just knew I had a message. Okay. Our greatest fears is not that we are inadequate. It's that we are powerful beyond measure. Our society has conditioned us that measure matters. And if you can measure it, if you can't measure it, it doesn't matter, or it can't be valued. And what can't be valued can't be valid. And if we aren't valid, then we are void. But we know better, don't we? That inner essence that came into this physical form knew it all before it was conditioned and programmed to believe otherwise. Society has taught us survival mode as a default, and to achieve higher requires some perceived privilege. Society is wrong. Our humanity knows better. It senses more. We allow comfort, convenience, and conformity to win, and all three co-create with our egos, amplifying fear, anxiety, worthlessness, and disconnect from our greatness, our light, our purpose. Many will leave their physical form, not ever knowing until right before they transcend back into their original form that all is true within. Don't wait until then. You are more powerful than you know. Light, love, and gratitude. Thank you for joining me here live or recorded in the High Vibe Zone. I'm Cherise Fonts. Have a blessed rest of your day.
You are a spiritual being in physical form, a dichotomy of light and dark, where energy equals mass on a journey designed to fulfill our personal legend and purpose, to use humanity throughout to amplify and transcend, slay the ego, raise the humanity. That's the signpost up ahead. Your next stop, the High Vibe Zone.